Macro Meat Funny on the way. Set. Racing. And Amity Bale slow to begin, and Mantra Lad flew out tonight. It's going to go straight across the field, and lead settling down and dashed away to Headley Bale, and they're followed by Kulu Warrior, Amity Bale, Oodles, Rocks, Beeswax, and then Hughes Bale and Octane L, the tail ender into the straight, and Mantra Lad is highballing in front, turns to the back about 5 lengths in front over Headley Bale, Kulu Warrior. Let's see how good Amity Bale is. She's giving Mantra Lad 8 lengths turning down the back, and they're followed by Beeswax and Oodles, Rocks, but it's Mantra Lad. He's got an almighty break down the back. Amity Bale gets an inside run. She's cut the margin to 6 lengths. Is coming after Mantra Lad. Mantra Lad, Australia's champion star, has got an almighty break. Amity Bale flying late, but Mantra Lad's back to his best and leads all the way. Beats Amity Bale, Kulu Warrior, Oodles, Rocks, Hughes Bale, Beeswax, Octane L, and Headley Bale on the run.
That was the outstanding Mantra Lad taking out the McKenna Memorial when it was over the 700 metres. It's 595 this year, and to help us find the winner, Jason Adams joins us. Stellar field this year's final patch, 40k to the winner, and good representation here for the Delbridge camp. Christo Bale's likely to run a favourite.
Yeah, he is. Good evening to you, Wiz, and it's a pretty good race. I mean, we just saw one of the greats win it just before, one of the better stays that we've seen, and I guess my favourite edition of the McKenna was probably the battle between Proven Impala and Irma Bale, which would have been 2013 off the top of my head. So pretty good edition in front of us for 2021. And Christo Bale, here's the storyline coming into this one. I think he's going for back-to-back, which not many greyhounds do in feature races year after year.
Absolutely. Well, let's have a look at that market. Spoke of Christo Bale being the likely favourite for the race. And indeed he is at this stage. He's at $2.60 ahead of JARICK Bale, $3.30, and DRAKO Bale at $5. So very, very healthy hand, as we said, for the Delbridge team and the Wheeler camp. Shadow Mist there at $6.50 as well. MePUNGA Warrior, $10. Graceland Bale, Aston Cade, and MePUNGA Felix, all priced up under $20. So whilst we do have a fairly well-defined couple of favourites there, Patch, there's a bit of value if you're looking elsewhere. We'll bring a speed map up on screen, and this is courtesy of GRV. Got Shadow Miss Christo Bale bounce back, finding the lure early. Patch, your interpretation of the speed map?
Look, I think box draw is going to play a pretty important part here. We've got the likes of Christo Bale, just about always begins pretty well, and I think over this distance, you'd expect him to lead more often than not. And there's one that doesn't carry a lot of speed on there, which we have seen a fair bit of, and that is Fernando Frank. He commonly settles towards that pointy end of the field. And, of course, JARICK Bale too, who can show a bit of toe like he did last week to go on and set the fastest heat winner of the series.
Yeah, I think the key thing with JARICK Bale, though, Patch, I mean, how often do we see this? When dogs like him have got inside draws, and they're not always reliable beginners, it just tends to bring them out. And 33.81 was the return. I think had he drawn box one here in the final, he'd be a very pronounced favourite.
Yeah, he would be. And the query I had over him was just there's going to be so much happening towards his inside. So as good as he can be, as fast as he has gone, there's just going to be a lot of traffic. So this isn't the first time that he's gone and cut loose over 600 metres. He's done it before at Sandown, breaking 34 seconds, and he's also been pretty handy in a couple of cracks over 600 at the Meadows as well. So a real up-and-comer. He's a younger brother to Christo Bale, so still coming through the ranks and doing good things since he stepped up at this distance. But the draw does make it quite a big challenge for him.
You know, I think Mark said pretty early in the piece that he saw JARICK Bale as his next Christo Bale, the dog to sort of take over from him. Let's have a look at Christo Bale last week. He was beaten by DRAKO Bale, who really signalled his, his qualifications for this series with an outstanding run the week prior. It's always easy to say after they've gone and won, but I thought he went around a silly price last week, DRAKO Bale. He's a good split again for the final this week. Just on Christo's effort, Patch, I thought he looked a little bit flat. What was your read on him?
Yeah, maybe a tad. I mean, he got into the clear pretty early, and from there you would have expected him to go on, especially the way he's performed over 600 metres at the Meadows in the runs leading up to that one, where he has shown not only can he do it from out in front and set the hot splits, but he can do it from midfield. Just a real class act, Christo, defending champion, and didn't mind the run. I think the draw is going to help him a lot this time around. And for DRAKO, it's just about that consistency and beginning well week to week, which is going to have him a player in this one if he's to get away as well as what he did last week.
Yeah, I'd have to concur about the box draw for Christo. I think that's certainly going to That's certainly going to help him as opposed to last week. MEPUNGA Warrior, he was a brilliant winner last week. Patch, we've sort of been waiting for him to get up over a middle distance, haven't we? 29.20 winner over the 500 there recently, and look, all the way along he's shown group class ability, this dog.
He has, and it's been a matter of time since he stepped up at this distance, because for so long we saw some barnstorming and real strong performances over the sprint distance. So it's a series like the McKenna which has demanded that he steps up, and he was good. I mean, often with these sort of greyhounds, they develop a profile of not having a lot of speed over the sprint distance, and as soon as they step up, they find themselves in a much more prominent position straight away. So that's what we saw from MEPUNGA Warrior last week. Tougher draw this time around. He's not going to get it as easy as what he did last time. And the other greyhound to take note of out of that run was Fernando Frank, who was wearing the pink rug. So a couple there, I'm not sure they're genuine winning chances. I like Warrior long term, but in terms of his assignment on Thursday night, I'm not convinced he's a genuine winning hope.
Who are the winning hopes then for the McKenna Patch?
Well, I reckon I agree with the market. Christo Bale, he's just been a star. I'm a big fan of him, and for a long time, we've seen him contest the sprint feature races, and he just doesn't have that pace to really assert himself and go on. And he's probably as quick as some of those he has been beaten by, but it's just that early toe he hasn't been able to match him. I think he's much better suited over 600 metres. I think he'll take a fair bit from last week in the box draw. It's a good thing for him, and it's just that reliability that we get with Christo Bale that gives me confidence that he can go back-to-back. Second, I went with Bounce Back, and he's another one who I've been bullish about and praised for a long period of time, because it's 15 races in a row now where he has finished in the money. So he's a consistent performer. He's got some pace, and I think he can have a say at some nice odds. Third, number one, Shadow Miss, is drawn very well, and JARICK Bale from the pink, who, as you alluded to earlier on, Wizzy, does his best work in these high-quality fields from an inside draw, bit of a test from a wide draw on a bend start. But Christo, I'm hoping he can go back-to-back.
Yeah, look, I agree with your thoughts about JARICK Bale. Look, as we said, watching his replay, had he drawn the inside, I think it would have been a legitimate favourite and on top for me. I had to leave him there in the numbers somewhere, Patch, because it's too good to leave out altogether. Box 8's not great for him, as you said. Look, I'm with Christo. I'm just hoping that that box draw A. And look, I just think that Mark Delbridge, you know, he would have seen the same things that we all sort of saw last week, and I'd say that you know, they've done their best to sort of freshen him up, maybe just vary things around for him this week and give him a lighter week, and I'd expect him to come out firing there on Thursday night. Patch, it's a good card of racing there actually at Sandown. We've got a super, there's a third and fourth grade on the night, the race with Aston Rupee that shapes up like a group race, but mate, what were the good things on the night?
That's a ripper, and he's jumping side by side, Ferdinand Boy. So that's going to be absolute sparks early on in that race, which I think comes up maybe in race number 5, I should say, could be when we see that one. In terms of the better bets of the night, my first of them is It's My Party, and look, she goes around in race number 4. She'll jump from box number 3, and I'm going to say that her past 2 runs haven't been any good indication of where she's at the moment. You might think, why saying that, but you're tipping her? It's because she's had a lot of pressure put on her. I reckon she's folded up. She hasn't embraced that pressure that's been put on her, but I think this time around, it's a field where she should settle in a spot where she's got some clear air, and she's much better than what we've seen in her past couple of runs. So I just think she hasn't thrived because she hasn't handled that pressure that she's been put under, but hopefully this time around she can get a bit more open air out of the boxes and then take off and show us what she's really got. The next of them is I'm Easy Boys, who goes around in the stays race. And look, I didn't mind his run at all last week. He jumped from box number 6, and notoriously he's a greyhound who does settle on the speed, especially over this distance, and really just carve away after that and grind in the run to the line. But I thought last week, after finding a bit of adversity early on, he recovered quite well. Not that there was some top line stays in this race that should have run away from him, but look, he was still coming in the run, and I think tomorrow night, from a better draw, he should be able to find himself on the pace. And look, if last week's running is anything to go by as to how well he's running out 700 metres at the moment, I think he's a pretty attractive proposition. So he does come up against MEPUNGA Ruby from box 5, so I think he's more of an each-way go, depending what the prices look like when they open up. But race 4, number 3, It's My Party, and also race 7, number 3, I'm Easy Boys. Wiz, how about yourself?
Yeah, look, for what it's worth, first of all, Patch, I'm actually with you with I'm Easy Boys. It's only the fact that I'm such a big rat for MEPUNGA Ruby that I didn't end up making him a good thing myself. I'm easy, boys. I think he'll improve on the clock, as you said, just with a better beginning. Look, I took not the bravest route this week, I've got to say, Patch. I made my best bet, QWARA Bale. I thought if we could get somewhere near even money, she'd be a great bet. Look, at this stage of her career, she's infinitely better on her home deck than what she is away from home. A couple of runs at Albion Park recently have been disappointing. Look, if you can call, running second behind Outstanding Greyhounds disappointing, but just not to the same level that we've come to expect from her in Victoria. I think getting home now, she's still only a baby. I'd say that going on the road stuff and taking on the feature races will possibly come maybe with a little bit more time. But for the moment, her best form's on her home deck. And as I said, if we can get around even money, I thought that she'd be the best bet of the night there, race 8, number 2. Thanks for joining us, Patch. It's set to be a super night, as I said. I mean, that 4th and 5th grade earlier on in the night, Ferdinand Boy making his long-awaited 500-metre debut on the back of breaking the track record at Shepparton on Monday night. Yeah,
amazing performance, and come up against Fernando Bluey, and that was a great hit out. So, yeah, a great card at Sandown tomorrow night. Of course, all the big action and Group 1 actions up in Brisbane, but a fairly good support card down here. So looking forward to a big Thursday night of racing.
All right, thanks for joining us, Patch, and thank you for joining us on Chasing Winners. Until we see you next week, back plenty of winners.